how to make loft beds. This video is all about how we made this loft bed, this loft bed. This obviously could work for bunk beds as well, but a super strong bed that's simple to make with minimal tools. You can make it with your kid, right, dude? Yeah, super easy to make. Really all the tools you need is you need a drill and a circular saw. You could scale up, of course. We also have a simple desk that you can make, some accessories, lots of options, lots of tips. Here you have it, making loft beds.
So first thing you want to do is take your 2x4s and go ahead and cut them to size. I am using a miter saw or a chop saw here, but just a circular saw is fine to cut it to length. For this whole build, we are using pocket holes. And so pocket holes are a way of getting the screw to go in an angle. It is stronger and it kind of conceals the screw. So it's not just like I'm throwing 2x4s together with screws on the side. It's also going to be a stronger joint. It's not traditional joinery, right? But it works great for this application and it's plenty strong enough. And you might end up like really falling in love with pocket holes and making all kinds of shelves and cool stuff. But yes, my kids helped a lot with this project, and this shows a 9-year-old can do this. You can totally do this. So this is just one style of pocket hole jig. We use this throughout the video. You'll see it. But you just go ahead and clamp it down and then just, use the provided drill bit to screw it into place. And so you pre-drill the hole and then you add in the special pocket hole screws. And so that's how we did the joinery. All right, this is 2x4s. It's construction grade stuff, so you'll want to clean it up a little bit, do some sanding. Again, if you're working with your kids, this is just an easy way for them to feel like they're helping a lot. Can teach them some tricks about sanding. Again, yes, this is a wood shop I have, but you don't need all these fancy tools that I have, all my different sanders. Just a basic sander works just fine. Again, it's whatever look you're going for. If you end up adding finish to it or anything like that, just, sand it a little bit. But again, a couple more pocket holes just for the different pieces. But first,
But wait, he forgot something really important, measurements. So yes, there are people out there who have plans, they have cut lists, all that stuff. That's not my thing. I make it on like graph paper and do little drawings. So drawing, it's really not that hard to make your own plans, your own measurements. And so I thought about making, a whole, plans and all that. But really, you have a custom space. So to get you started, just get some graph paper. I love using graph paper. You got the lines, and then just kind of get your measurements. It's different size mattresses, right? You might have an extra long mattress, and you might want to account for different things in your space. You're making a custom bed, might as well customize it to your plans. But if you need a starting point as far as the height of the bed, what I went with, I'm going to show you these really, really elaborate colored pencil drawings. You can go ahead and pause the video, take a look at them a little bit more. Don't go off of these measurements. Don't cut your wood to these. Like, kind of double check and make sure, what do you want? But this just gives you an idea of a starting place for your design and your cuts. Here we go. Pause shortly. All right, so what I did was, I sketched out a couple different versions. So this is the one design, right, where we have the 2 rails. I made this for the bed that's a little bit shorter, but you can go ahead and pause that there. Okay, you paused it. This just kind of gives you an idea for, how wide is it going to be. All right, yeah, it's about 3.5 inches for a 2x4. I'm giving a 1.5 inch gap. Just kind of the height. Okay, I want the bottom of my bed here. Again, I'm using 2x10s. If you wanted to use a 2x8 or a 2x6 or even a 2x4 to save money, you could definitely save a lot of money and not do the 2x10s. But just, do your different measurements, where you want the mattress top to be, where the kid's going to be sitting, how much headroom. So there's lots of things to account for. As far as the stairs, I actually changed this a lot, and you'll see that later in the video where I went for alignment. So just plan to adjust that. So that's one. This is the other one. This is the first bed you're going to see. So this is the first bed with my older son. It's a little bit taller, a little bit more room for a desk under here. He's got the headspace. Again, just account for your space and what you want it to look like. So that's what I went with. Again, use your own measurements, but here's a starting place if that's helpful. Do a screen grab, print this page if that helps. But have fun sketching out your own. All right, back to the build.
All right, to make a super secure bed, a strong bed, I'm actually going to anchor this into the wall. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I want it just to be solid, solid in place and not budge at all. So I'm actually going to remove part of the molding with this oscillating multi-tool so that this 2x4 leg can be flush up against the wall so I can secure that into a stud. So that's what I'm doing here. Again, this is an optional step, but I recommend it. It's extra, extra strong. We'll go ahead and mark out where the studs are. Painter's tape is really helpful. Just have an idea. You don't have to do a pencil mark, but the painter's tape. And then we're just kind of mapping everything out. And then we marked on this big stretcher here, this 2x10, where the holes are going to be. We pre-drilled it. And we're drilling some pieces on the floor before it's up there, just to save our arms from the weight, get it nice and in place. Doing the same thing again here where I'm just removing part of that molding. Again, you could skip that step. You don't have to do that, but we're not planning on moving anytime soon. So in it goes. But then anchoring it into the wall, I went with 3-inch screws. And actually it was 4-inch screws, but you just want to make sure it really gets into that stud. So that part is solid. It's construction grade materials, meaning this is the wood they use to build houses. It's construction grade, right? So it's super secure. I just went overboard because I got big kids and they like to be kids. So anyway, you're just adding everything up. You can kind of see how I'm piecing everything together. Those pocket holes make it so easy. I've already marked out where you have the drills, the drill holes, and you add in the screws. I know this is super fast, so you can pause it, slow down if you want to, but it's just drilling holes. You drilled the holes and you're adding in the screws, and you're just lining everything up however you measured it. You can see right there, going a little bit slower here. Just the screw goes in, and I went overkill with 6 screws here. I would have gotten by with 4, would have been fine. Now I'm adding the stretcher here. Again, you just want to have a little bit of a rail, but this design is just super simple, minimalist, and it's secure enough. All right, time for steps. The ladder. When I was a kid, the bunk bed I had, it just always killed my feet. It was that thin wood. So we are adding that thin wood piece here for the bottom, but we'll end up adding a bigger step just so a little bit more room. But adding the bottom piece, just go ahead and clamp it down, add your screws. I do recommend using an impact driver if you have one. It just makes quick work, especially if you're using those longer screws. So as far as the step itself, I went with some thicker stuff here, like 2x6 or 2x8. And then I'm marking where the post is going to be. So that's going to be a little notch that I'm going to need to cut out. And so I figure out which side I want to be my step, the top side. And then I am using a different tool. It is a jigsaw. So I know I said just a circular saw, but a jigsaw isn't super expensive, and that's also versatile. Shoot, you could just use a jigsaw for all your cuts and just do a saw and a drill. Anyway, minimalist tools, or more tools if you got it. All right, so here we go. We went ahead and we're adding a little 2x4 piece just for a little bit more support. It might be overkill, but it's just going to balance it so it doesn't tilt down. So some 2x4 pieces on the side, and then just the step on there. We're testing it out. Yeah, it's strong, it's secure. And then I just used some scrap wood there. You can see it's kind of standing up there for my height. I'd recommend whoever's bed it is to kind of test out the height to see if that's a good height for them going up and down, especially thinking about the middle of the night and all that good stuff. So you just kind of rinse and repeat, follow the steps over and over again, add that bottom piece, get that locked in place. But wait, it's a tight corner. Move the dresser. Oh, I don't have to. I don't have to move the dresser because of this really cool attachment. This cool attachment I've used for drawers, all kinds of things. It's a right angle drill attachment. This is how I've used it it's just I already have this video, right? And you just add it into the drill, and independently it's going to screw it into the side there. So if you got a tight corner, it's a super handy little attachment to have for other applications. Not necessary, but you never know when you might need it. Links to all the tools down below if so interested. All right, so here you can see it a little bit clearer. We're adding that little support and then just adding in that step there. So over and over. And then we did anchor it in with some screws, however many screws you want. All right, so the bed's got to sit on something. So this is just a runner. This is about like probably a 2x2 that I just ripped down on the table saw. You can buy these at Home Depot at your box store already pre-cut, and then just drill it into place. Went with a lot of screws again. We want it super secure, and kind of account for how high up you want your mattress when you set this. But this is going to be that base that the slats lay on. So for the slats, you definitely need to screw these into place. If the slats, move around, then the mattress is going to fall through. You could also add in a sheet of plywood or OSB or something under here for a full platform underneath the mattress if you need. But if you have about, like I spaced it there, it's perfectly secure. Throw in the mattress, test it out. It works. Awesome. Got about 400 pounds there. 450, big boys. Okay, we're gonna add something cool to the design here. We got a laser cutter. We do a lot of cool laser cut stuff at home. It's a fun project with my kids. So we thought, you know what? Let's laser cut the kids' names for their beds. Quick and easy. We just stained some plywood, cheap plywood, cut it out in no time. It's really fun. The laser is awesome. Use some double stick tape on the back already before we cut it, so all we have to do is peel off the backing. Gets a bit monotonous there, but it makes it so easy for alignment. And peel, and voila, it looks so cool.
All right, real quick, I do want to talk a little bit more about the laser because it's so fun. My kids and I, we've been having a blast with it, lots of possibilities. If you want to learn more about this laser, smaller lasers, medium lasers, I got links down below. This is not a sponsored video, but I have worked with xTool on these. There is an affiliate link where we get a little percentage of the sale, but really cool. It's just fun. There are small business possibilities, so if you don't have a full wood shop, you don't need one to do laser stuff. Maybe it's a way to get into it. Anyway, lasers, fun. Check out the stuff below. All right, back to the beds, the desks, the things. Here we go.
All right, time for a DIY desk. So if you have a loft bed, you want to have a desk under that. Super easy. We just did more pocket holes here with 2x4s, just with some cutoffs that we had from before. As far as measurements, just measure what works for your space, what else you want under there. It's pretty straightforward. As far as the height, test all that out. We did mark out the studs again and are anchoring a little bit into the studs. But again, it is super strong and secure. We just have that one leg there coming out. So there's a little bit more room for other things. It doesn't take up as much space. It's mostly just floating along the wall, but we did have that extra leg there for support. Of course, you want to make sure everything is level and square. Test it out. Do we like this height? Does this work? Again, it's cool having your kid involved. All right, just cutting up some sheet goods. So this part, you can just have them cut for you at Home Depot if you don't have a table saw, or the box store. They can cut a bigger sheet of plywood or melamine, whatever you want for your tabletop in place. I'm cutting out a notch again, just to account for that upright leg of the bed, just with the jigsaw here. Again, using a piece of 2x4, just kind of measure it out, and then slow and steady, use a jigsaw, cut it out. All right. We went ahead and we added this like vinyl wrap. It's like contact paper or shelf paper because we want it to be waterproof. Lots of options for tables, but we went with just a super DIY friendly option. We had a little bit of a struggle here figuring this out, but using a roller here, using a vinyl scraper, whatever, applicator for vinyl, and then went ahead and flipped it over and trimmed the excess with a box knife, with a utility knife. Just wrapped it under. Kind of looks like walnut. It's not real walnut. I would love to use real walnut, but we wanted to do a basic desk here, and the vinyl makes it waterproof so they can eat on it, all that good stuff. All right, we went ahead and drilled a bigger hole for cords storage. You don't need to have a drill press. You could use a normal drill. All right, how do we attach it? Well, we drilled pocket holes in there already, and so the screw will come straight up and hold it into place. So again, before you assemble the whole thing, make sure you drill those pocket holes the right direction to go up, clamp it in place, and then my little dude is just screwing in the screws underneath, and it's going through the 2x4 into that plywood itself. I do recommend plywood for a base. It's just a little stronger. All right, for the tabletop. All right, we are making another bed. It's the same process as before. This one's a lot quicker, but just an idea if you're making one that's a little shorter, like we're making for my 3-year-old. So here, this one's got the double safety bar. And so you can just see a little different design if you want a bigger safety bar, you know. You could also leave those little pieces in there if you want a decorative look and you want some more support in between. We just didn't find that it was necessary. But this one you can see is about half size. Didn't want to make it super short like most toddler loft beds, because, you know, he'll grow eventually, and it worked out great for him, so a 3-year-old could master it. Here again, you can see those steps. I really love this design with the steps being wider, and having used it a bunch, it is a lot easier on the feet. Just kind of go through the process, and so here, just went with it about the same height, a little bit shorter than we made for my older son, but, you know, kind of mix around, and so little dude loves it. His own bed, his big boy bed.
What is that?
He was thrilled.
That's your bed?
Your bed too.
Yeah, is that Ezekiel's bed over there? Oh, such a big boy.
So we went ahead and tested him getting up and down and decided we wanted to lower it a little bit, but super easy to do, just with those clamps and its screws. You're not using any wood glue, so we were able to adjust it, and just a little bit easier for him to get in and out. And again, you know, it's a great bed, and we were really happy with the height. And again, mess around with your measurements, see what works for you. But what's great about this design, you can kind of adjust it as necessary. We did add these bars. This bar handle really was helpful and easy to attach. Just gave a little bit more security, a little ease getting in and out of the bed, even for a 3-year-old. Okay, next up we have some accessories for the bed, for the bunk, for the loft. You don't have to have a table saw to cut these to size. You could just go ahead and buy them like 1x4s from your box store, pre-cut. We are sanding it down, getting everything nice and clean. All right, so after you get your pieces cut, whatever size you want, just cutting the table or the shelf itself. We used a melamine here. You could use plywood, but cutting everything just to kind of get the dimensions just so. Using the table saw, again, you could have them cut these things at the store and then use your circular saw to cut the pieces, the length. Here at home, we are adding some stain just for the shelf. We didn't end up staining the bed itself. You could add stain, you could add finish. We left ours raw, and that's fine. If it gets messy, we can just sand things off, but up to you. That's up to you. All right, so here I am using a bandsaw. You could do this with a jigsaw or the circular saw, cutting these supports for underneath the bed, underneath the shelf. We're using a different pocket hole jig here. It's the same idea. This one just kind of holds in place. There's a lot of different pocket hole jigs out there. Links to the ones that I use down below in the description. All right, and let's pull out the leaf blower because that's fun. That's cool. All right, so we drilled our pocket holes. Great, awesome. Getting everything in place so things can be securely attached. After that, we attached it. So clamps come in handy here just to add those pocket holes into place. We did use the melamine, but we ended up adding some of that vinyl wrap on it anyway, just to be consistent with the desk. I do recommend having something that's waterproof there. Trim it out, just so, you know, on this shelf, if, you know, things spill or, you know, kids are gonna eat some snacks in there. All right, at this point the camera died because of the sun. My camera just got overheated, so you didn't get to see the whole process, but we drilled holes in, we attached it. I did use a nail gun just to add those trim pieces along the side. You could use screws. It's pretty straightforward here, I think. Went ahead and pre-drilled the holes to mount it to the wood itself, and then clamp it in place and screw it. It is that simple. Pretty basic, just gives you an idea. You can mess around with it with what works for you. All right, here we're adding just some shelves because we already have the structure in place with the 2x4s. Just adding in some pieces, little shelves by this desk. One last little add-on, if you will, for this video, and then we're almost done. But pocket holes, just adding some pocket holes in there. Here's a basic shelf that has pocket holes underneath with a little lip. So if you put things up there, again, I've already marked out where those studs were, so I can just go straight in, and that is how I mounted it. If I wanted to have like a little lip on the front so things don't fall over, I could do that, but we got it nice and clean. Can add in some Funkos, some bobbleheads. Our Crunch Labs, hashtag Mark Rober is awesome. It's really fun. If your kid doesn't already do Crunch Labs, they're great little STEM projects.
And there you have it, making some loft beds that are strong. If this video provided any value for you, please consider subscribing to see more videos like this. And as my little dude, who's not so little anymore, says what?
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell, right? You know, notifications. You can if you want. Anyway, normally we make, all kinds of different things. As you saw, there is a little bit of laser work that we've been doing recently. It's just a great project to do with your kids. It's so fast. And if you don't have the full wood shop, really recommend looking into it. I got a lot of videos on that, links and such down below. But anyway, yeah.
One of the things.
Yeah, check those links. Are the lasers pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to do with...
Mike, buy your own.
You could buy your own. You could do that. Anyway, beds. That was what we were here for with minimal tools. But other videos, other stuff down below. All right, until next time, talk to you later.